Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here tonight. My name is Callais De Seuss Figures, and I'm proud to be here as a senior advisor at When We All Vote, a national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to increase participation in each and every election, close the race and age voting gap, and change the culture around voting. First, thank you to United for Democracy, a national coalition of more than 140 organizations coming together to fight for a political system that works for everyday people. Thanks for bringing us all together for this important discussion this evening. Last week, the Supreme Court gutted a key section of the Voting Rights Act in the Louisiana versus Callais decision, paving the way for states to suppress Black voters across the country. This decision emphasized the deep frustration, concern, and growing sense that the system isn't working the way it should, that so many people are feeling across this country. I know you all are, and that's why you're here tonight. And as I join you here from my home in Mobile, Alabama, the frustration is so deeply personal. But the Callais decision also highlighted something else that I know. Every unfair map and every attempt to silence voters is another reminder of how much power we actually do have. If they didn't have a good sense of our power, they wouldn't be trying to diminish it. Tonight is about laying out exactly what's at stake. It's about hearing from leaders across the movement and understanding how we can turn this moment into action to take our power back and more together. You'll learn from leaders today about ways to stay engaged in the fight for our vote. And we also want to make sure that you have ways to take action right now. If you haven't already, sign the United for Democracy petition calling on Congress to deliver a real plan to restore power to the people. We'll share the link throughout the call many times over and over again, and we'll share it because we know that collective action is strong. To start us off, I am honored to turn it over to someone who has been helping to bring this coalition together in this pivotal moment, someone who is, in every sense of the word, a force. Please join me in introducing Stasha Rhodes, Executive Director of United for Democracy.
Thank you so much, Kalisha. We appreciate you so much, and we appreciate our partnership with When We All Vote. And thank you to everyone joining us tonight. We are grateful that you decided to be here in this moment with us. I want to start with what brought us here. Last week, the Supreme Court handed down its decision in Louisiana v. Callais, which gutted what little remained of the Voting Rights Act. And for a lot of people, that decision raised a deeper question. Whose voices count and whose don't? Because at its core, that case is about representation. It's about whether people, especially communities that have historically been pushed to the margins, have a fair shot at being heard. But here's the truth. This is not just about one case. It's about something bigger. Because when people across this country look at what's happening, not just at the Supreme Court, but across our entire system, they're feeling something deeper. They're feeling that the system isn't working for them. And you can see how that truth is showing up in everyday life. You can see it when the cost of groceries keeps rising, but wages don't. When childcare costs more than people can afford. When working families are doing everything right and still falling behind. When access to healthcare feels uncertain or out of reach. People aren't imagining this, they are living it. And the question they're asking is, why in a country with so much wealth and so much power does it feel like the system isn't delivering for the people? The answer is uncomfortable, but it's clear. Over time, the rules of our political system have been weakened and reshaped. Not by accident, but in ways that have allowed a small group of powerful interests, corporations, and the extremely wealthy to gain more influence, more access, and more control, while everyday people are left fighting just to be heard. That's the through line. That's what connects what's happening in the Supreme Court to what's happening in Congress, to what people are feeling in their daily lives. This is about power. Who has it, who doesn't, and who the system is actually working for. And right now, too often, the system is working exactly as it was shaped to, just not for the people. That's why we're here. United for Democracy is a coalition of more than 140 organizations coming together across issues and across communities because we understand that none of the challenges we're facing can be solved without addressing the system itself. Because when the system is out of balance, everything else is too. And let's be clear about something. If we are going to restore balance and accountability, it has to happen across the board in the Supreme Court, in Congress, and in the White House. All of them must be accountable to the people they are meant to serve. But here's the critical piece. Congress has the power to change this. Congress has the power to write new rules, to set new standards, and to put forward a real plan to restore power to the people and to act on that plan. But they won't move on their own. They only move when people demand it. They move when the pressure is too great to ignore. And that's how change has always happened in this country. It's how we got the Voting Rights Act in the first place. And that's what we're building right now. We're organizing a demand, one that is large enough, loud enough, and unified enough that it cannot be ignored. That's why we're starting with something simple but powerful, a petition, a call from people across this country to their members of Congress. Do something. Deliver a plan and act on it to put power back in the hands of the people. And we're already seeing that momentum build. In just a few days, more than 100,000 people have added their names. This is how change begins. Not quietly, not in isolation, but with people raising their voices together and demanding something better. So tonight is about more than just understanding what the Callais decision held and what the Supreme Court said. It's about recognizing what's possible. It's about connecting the reality people are living every day to the changes we know are necessary at the system level. And it's about making clear that we are not going to accept a system that continues to leave people behind. We're going to organize, we are going to build, and we are going to demand a democracy that actually works for us. So if you haven't already, I want to ask you, add your name to the petition, share it, bring others in, send it to your friends, because this is how we build the kind of collective power that forces change. And this is just the beginning. We're building something bigger than this moment, something that brings people together across issues, across communities, and across this country to restore power where it belongs, with the people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stasha. That petition she mentioned, it's a key part of just how we're going to show the momentum and the pressure that we're building right now. So take a moment, sign it, and then go to your chats in your phone, find the group chat you have, whether it's with family or with friends, send it around to people you know. This is the way that we are demonstrating the action that we're looking to take in this moment. I want to turn it over to a leader who has long been a powerful voice for accountability, for equity, and for the role of government in serving people. Please welcome former mayor of New Orleans, Mitch Landrieu.
Alicia, thank you so much. And Sasha, thank you for that very passionate statement of purpose and commitment. And I'm really happy to be with all of you and United for Democracy. I won't be long, but I wanted to join you so that we could stand in solidarity as we face yet another threat to the future of America, because you really can't sugarcoat it. What the Supreme Court did the other day, it wasn't just serious. It wasn't really just about maps and district. It was about an essential idea of what makes America the country that she is and the country that she promised to be, which is that every single one of us, every person, irrespective of race, creed, color, religion, sexual orientation, et cetera, that every one of us is as important as the other, that each of our voices really matters in a democracy. And essentially what this decision said, on top of previous decisions that eviscerated the Voting Rights Act, is that some of us are more important than others. Some of us can be seen more than others. Some of us voices are heard more than others. Now, I may be a little bit older than most of the people on this call, but everybody here is old enough to remember history. There was a big fight about what the purpose of the Civil War is. People who know what the history of it was know that it was about slavery, but they wanted to put a fig leaf on it and said it was really about economics. In this regard, they really just want to say it's about politics and essentially make people think it's not really about race. But in the Deep South, as many of you know, especially in the lower 13 southern states, it's hard to separate politics from race if it can be done. So we've seen this game before. I was in the legislature for 4 terms. I went through 2 reapportionment sessions. And it is very, very clear about how districts are cut and why they are cut. And this Supreme Court, not only the other day, in Louisiana versus Callais said that no, we're going to eviscerate the Voting Rights Act, which took us years and years and years, a lot of blood, a lot of toil, a lot of pain to put into place. But we're actually going to green light it and we're going to make it go faster, which they did just before we got on this call tonight by green lighting the governor of Louisiana's effort to upend elections that have already started. So not only do they want to create a system where you can't vote, they want to take away votes that have already been cast. Some of them are absentee. The message is loud and clear, is that they will not be stopped, at least not judicially. And I think Kalisha and Stasha both said it very, very clearly, but that's not the end of the game. That's just the beginning of the game. And this is a very serious game. It goes to the very heart of who we are as Americans, because we, in fact, are better together. We have demonstrated that time and time and time again. If you talk to the great John Lewis, and he was standing on the foot of the Edmund Pettus Bridge and he was about to get his ass whipped by that sheriff, you asked him, did you know he was going to hit you? And he said, son, I did. And I said, you knew it was going to hurt? He said, you know I did. But he took it. And he took it for an important reason. In his life, as many others were an exemplar of what facing difficult circumstances is like. So the problem that they have is that they think that we're back in 65, or they think that we're back post Civil War. We are not. The world has come way too far for us to get pushed back to where we were, where they take away from every American their just right to participate in a democracy. Because when you can't participate, when your vote can't be heard, what it simply means is that your interests will never be met. And those interests can go from being very high-minded to very simple, like not being able to make rent, not being able to have health care, have your mama or daddy stroke out because the hospital down the street is closed, not really having Medicare or Medicaid available for our special needs kids, not having the quality of life that everybody else has because the system is rigged. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that the world in America right now is out of balance. It is out of fairness. It is tilted in a direction that feels like you can't get it back. So I just want to call everybody, not that anybody on this call needs it or you wouldn't be on it, into this moment, because it is very unlike other moments in the history of the country. We've only been here maybe 3 or 4 times, and it is not a fait accompli that it's going to work out well. It will work out well if we all show up. If we do what we can do, however small. If it's just adding your voice to the petition, do that. If you can do more, do that. If you have a louder voice, use it, because there are more people who think like we do on this call than are people who have gathered power and who are trying to shut us down by a system that has been manipulated so that it actually can encourage the power of a few. We're in that moment, but we've been here before, and people whose shoulders we stand on have stood up in times like this and actually been counted. So listen, I know that it's hard, but hard is not hopeless. And there is no way in America that we can be hopeless given the amount of people that we have who believe that America is just better together and that we all come to the table of democracy as equals. We made a covenant with each other, is that all of us are going to share in opportunity and all of us are going to share in responsibility. And they are going to try to take that away. But as Kalisha said, and as Sasha mentioned, Congress can change this. And we can change Congress. And I'm a little boy from New Orleans, and we say things down here, which is, we do not bow down because we do not know how. And if we join arms and we stay together across race and class, and everybody understands how important equality is because it is at the heart of democracy, we will win this battle just like we've won the other one. So I look forward to working with you. I stand in solidarity with you. And thank you for all the work that you have done and all the work that you're about to do. God bless you all.
Thank you, Mitch, for grounding us in both the urgency of this moment and what leadership could look like. I think you saying that we've been here before, but also not that often, really gives me that sense of urgency of knowing that this is a moment that we have to show up.
Amen.
So, next, we'll hear from someone who has been at the forefront of fighting for fair elections and protecting the right to vote. And as you're hearing these stories and connections, we'll hope you will take a moment to again make sure you're adding your name to that petition and sharing it with others. Please welcome Lauren Grow-Wargo, CEO of Fair Fight Action. Lauren.
Thank you so much, Kalisha. So wonderful to be with you and Stasha and this whole community. I love coming after Mayor Mitch and this adopted Atlanta, and what a great leader we have in him nationally and in the South. One thing I will say about this moment is we knew it was going to come. October 15th was a rehearing in this case, announced in August of last year that they were going to rehear it. So I called up my friends and colleagues at Black Voters Matter, Latasha and Cliff, and said, we've been working on some analysis on what this is going to mean. Can we work together? And so we co-released a report in October that outlined the stakes, that if Section 2 was gutted, there would be 19 VRA protected seats that the Republicans could take and could bust up Black political power, gutting 30% of the CBC and 20% of the Hispanic caucus, to really outline that and how this moment and what the Section 2 means in terms of how racially polarized voting and how Section 2 is a game changer in getting a representative democracy to ensure that racial minorities could have their voice heard. We did a follow-up report towards the end of the year looking at state legislatures. I sometimes know it to remind my friends in other states that the Voting Rights Act affects everything, not just Congress, not just the state legislature, but county commission districts, city councils. We put together a report in state legislatures that I think was even more gutting, to be honest, to me personally. It could draw 191 seats out of the hands of Black and brown Southerners and into the far right, drawing permanent far right majorities and supermajorities across the South. And I don't need to tell this community what that would mean. This community understands state legislatures and the impact they have on our bodily autonomy, on Medicaid expansion, on minimum wage, you name it. And then obviously the impact in Congress is devastating. So as we were digging through that and working with all of our coalition partners over the past couple of months, I guess what I will say is we have all been working together like never before across the South. And in that, it's been a really positive, powerful experience, getting to know our Senate minority leaders and Black caucus leaders across the South, getting to know our colleagues in Black Voters Matter and Alabama Forward and Power Coalition. And I'm up here in Nashville today to go support the folks here in Tennessee, and building a Southern multiracial, multi-ideology coalition is our mission, to win the hearts and minds of America and to learn the lessons of the civil rights movement. So we're in this fight with all of you, and this is not just a Southern fight. They're coming for the Black and brown majority districts in blue states. They're coming for our power everywhere. And there are going to be people who we think are our allies who are going to suggest things for expediency at times and not look at the bigger picture. We are in for a brave new world. So at Fair Fight, here's how we're thinking about it. We have sort of 6 big buckets that we're working to advance, small pieces of, some of them big pieces of others, but that this community can dive in on to make the change, to ultimately build the power to get to structural democracy reforms overall. So number 1, we have to fight back hard now. Call your governor, I don't care what state you live in, and tell him you do not want to see the gutting of Black and Latino political power in your state, period. I don't care what state you live in, because most states' governors have something to do with reapportionment. But if you are in one of the impacted Southern states, take the day off from work. Take your kids, go to these protests. This is the time. If you're from one of those Southern states and you're living somewhere else, get on the plane. It's go time. It's now. It's not next week. It is now. This week is going to be an inflection point in American history. Get there. So get there. And if you can't get there, sign the petitions, do the social media, call the legislators, do the grassroots lobbying, tell your boss to leave you alone. You got to text message everybody, you got to call. Fight back hard now. We got to frame the narrative for America, and we got to get it out to our networks. We got to slow it. We got to gum it up. We got to expose it. Number two, we got to build a deeper coalition. That means talk to your nieces and nephews who don't follow the news. Find out which one of their cultural icons is talking about this and make sure they're paying attention. We got to talk to the people who are non-voters. We got to talk to the person in the corner store we see every day, but we don't know anything about them. Deeper coalition of allies that looks a lot of different ways. Number three, we got to broaden the coalition. So in Atlanta, we got a lot of corporate leaders. We're talking to them more. To folks in your family who are Republican, but don't want to be seen as racist Confederates. Time to talk to them, right? Broaden the coalition. We don't have to agree on everything, but we can agree on a two-party system and a multiracial democracy. Number four, we got to expose the extremism and corruption, y'all. We got the Voting Rights Act because of a massively built-out record where we could see the racism, we could see the intent, we could see the lack of serving the people. So that means if your friends are in the legislature, we need to draw it out of those guys, make it real, record the tweets, take the screenshots. We need to expose the extremism and the corruption to build a new record for a new voting rights scheme. And also for eventually we're going to get through this and we're going to have a lot of accountability. Number five, mobilize for the midterms. We're going to win up and down the ballot. We want to win everything we possibly can this fall. From your local city council race to the U.S. Senate, we got to get democracy champions in at all levels before the maps are completely rigged and before they take it even further. So this year is for all the marbles. In Georgia, where I live, we're going to win the Georgia State House. We are going to do what we can this year at every level. So I don't care where you live. Everybody can be part of this democracy. Massive turnout, massive turnout. And then finally, we've got to build the power for structural democracy reform. So those are our 6-step theory of change. Some of this is going to happen now. Some of these things are for the long haul, and we want to have them in mind as we're doing our work now. So I'm so grateful to be with this community, so grateful for your work, and know that those of us who are living in the South and working in the South, though this is painful, we feel a sense of fight and a weird kind of hopefulness that through this difficulty, we're going to be able to shape a better system that will ultimately deliver for our people and that we can get to the other side and have a more just, fair country. So back to you, Callais.
Thank you so much, Lauren. Now we'll hear from a powerful voice for justice and accountability, someone who has been unapologetic in calling out inequities and pushing for real change. So please join me in welcoming Gary Chambers, civil rights advocate and entrepreneur. Gary.
Thank you, Callais, and thank you, Stasha, for putting us together today. I am Gary Chambers and hail from North Baton Rouge, the black side of town in East Baton Rouge Parish, where in the 200-year history of this community, there have only been 2 black mayors. In the history of this state, which is 33% black, there have been 1 black person to hold the governor's office, and it was 150 years ago. The first time that a black person ran for Congress and won an election was from the state of Louisiana, Willis Menard in the 1860s. They robbed Willis Menard of the ability to be seated in Congress. They said it's not time yet. Following Willis Menard was PBS Pinchback. PBS Pinchback was denied the ability to be seated in the U.S. Senate. This history, when people say we're not like this, we're better than this is America. We have always been this. And the response to this has always been people-powered movements to demand more of America, to push America to be a more just and a more moral nation. The very core of this is undemocratic and un-American to say that to tax black people in Louisiana and then deny us representation is the very premise of robbing us of our ability to be full citizens in this country. And if we are going to pretend to say that we are a nation that has liberty and justice for all, Dr. King told us that we wanted America to be true to what it said on paper. We have yet to do that, and it requires every generation to stand up and do more. There are voices like mine who over the years have seemed controversial, have seemed like we were alarmist, and now we're faced with Jeff Landry actively using the manipulations of the court system all the way up to the Supreme Court to strip away the rights of Americans in every corner of this country. And so when I say what happens in Louisiana impacts the rest of the country, I mean it. That it is the birthing ground for much of the frustrations of this country, but it is also where our congressional leadership lives. Scalise is in Louisiana, and so is Mike Johnson, number one and number two in Congress. And so when we talk about a need for Congress to act, a need for more to be done, if you take the time to look at Louisiana and the South as a priority, we don't end up in this situation. If we are going to get a Congress that gives us the passing of the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and extending the liberties of Americans in every corner of this country, it is going to require us to have a focus on the South in a manner that we have never done before. When you look at Scott Callais in Mississippi up against Cindy Hyde-Smith, he needs your support. There are candidates all over the South who need you to invest in them, to lock into them, to energize, to knock doors for them. If you ain't knocking doors, what are you doing? In 2026, if you are not knocking your neighbor's door, what are you doing? And if you don't know your neighbor in 2026, what are you doing? In a world where they're trying to cut off food stamps, you better know somebody who has some sugar. You have to get to a point in your life where you recognize that the things that impact us are solved by community. And that if we get within community, we can address no matter how big the billionaire is, no matter how massive the corporation is, the power of the people is still greater. I believe that we have all of the tools within us if we come together and rise up in this moment. I believe that we have a golden opportunity on the other side of this. If they want to touch the government and the Constitution and redefine what we know as the Constitution, then we get to be reconstructionists ourselves. Everything that they touch, we get to touch again and define that every American in this country has truly liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Gary, thank you so much. The clarity, the conviction, and all the work that you're doing and leading. Next, I'd like to welcome Brianna Tufit, Executive Director of Planned Parenthood Action Fund. This is someone who is working day in and day out to protect reproductive freedom in this country, to ensure that people have the ability to make decisions over their own bodies and their lives and their futures. And so we'll hand it over to you, Brianna.
Thanks so much, Kalisha. Hi, everyone. I wanted to share that I hail from the Central Valley of California, where my Mexican-American grandfather worked as a farm worker in the fields alongside leaders like Dolores Huerta, and where the particular experience of my ancestors, rural folks, farming folks, Spanish-speaking people, where they would eventually come to enjoy representation that understood all of the particulars of their identities. So representation, I feel it so deeply in my bones, and I know my family has felt it for generations here. I'm here on behalf of Planned Parenthood because we know our fights, the fight for reproductive freedom, bodily autonomy, and voting rights, are deeply intertwined. They're inextricably linked, particularly in the wake of the Supreme Court decision overturning Roe versus Wade, which fractured access to sexual and reproductive health care across state lines. We know that access to sexual and reproductive health care, including abortion, is widely popular. The vast majority of people support that access. Anti-abortion politicians know this, and they know that the country disagrees with them, and yet they want to make it harder for everyone everywhere to get an abortion when and where they need one, even in states where abortions are legal or protected. So this small group of individuals with counter opinions, the only way that they can achieve their agenda is to chip away at the collective power that we have in order to advance their personal hopes and gains. So the stakes of that are really high when this small group with an unpopular point of view are able to stack courts or gut the Voting Rights Act to advance their agenda. And what are the specific states that Planned Parenthood is tending to? Planned Parenthood was kicked out of Medicaid through congressional act over the last year. And that puts affordable health care and access to it even farther out of reach for so many. And we're talking about basic health care here. A small story, last fall at a routine OBGYN appointment, my doctor listened to concerns about painful periods and ordered an ultrasound that led to a biopsy that led to a cancer diagnosis. And fortunately, within 2 months, I had surgery to remove the cancer, which had not spread. So today, I am back at work defending the rights of everyone, everywhere, to basic health care, whether they find it at a Planned Parenthood, at a private practice, at an emergency room, at a community-based health center. This is the kind of care that Republicans and anti-abortion politicians and their deeply unpopular agenda are trying to limit. Basic cancer screenings. Late last week, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals in Louisiana, in collaboration with Trump's Food and Drug Administration, temporarily cut off access to mifepristone via telehealth and pharmacies. And that sent Planned Parenthood health centers over the weekend and other providers into operational chaos as patients who were coming for care over the weekend waited in limbo to understand whether or not they would be able to get the care that they planned for. The future of access to this widely used medication, which has been effectively and safely used for 25 years, now rests with the same Supreme Court that just gutted the Voting Rights Act. The ruling around mifepristone, the defunding of Planned Parenthood by Congress is part of a larger pattern. It's not a coincidence. It's what happens when people lose power in the systems that were meant to represent them. One of the most fundamental tenets of democracy is the freedom to vote and to have our votes count fairly. The Supreme Court has discarded that freedom and instead is giving politicians permission to suppress Black voters and make their votes less powerful in Louisiana and greenlighting other states to do the same. This kind of discrimination demands action, as so many folks have so eloquently said before. This is not the end of the fight, and we all have to continue to demand fair representation. So I think 4 simple things that folks can be doing that make a difference. Speak up to your lawmakers, tell stories and share them to anyone who will listen, whether it's in your community or online. Donate to organizations organizing and advocating in the wake of this decision, and vote. On speaking to your lawmakers, Congress has the authority to restore and strengthen voting rights protections. This Congress has that authority, including passing the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act and setting real standards for fair representation. But they're not going to act on their own. It will take sustained public pressure in order to make voting rights non-negotiable. Another example of speaking up to your lawmakers, Congress can restore Planned Parenthood as part of the federal Medicaid program. It does matter when you call your members of Congress and demand these specific advancements in legislation. So pick up the phone. You might get a phone call from one of our organizations patching you through to them. You might get an email with a link you can click on that will take you to a script. Take those actions when they come your way every time they do. On the telling stories matter. Like all of these, whether it's access to the ballot box or access to sexual reproductive health care, making it human can take an idea and make someone feel it. So whether you're telling your own story about what voting means to you, you're telling your own story about healthcare that has saved your life or the life of someone you love, tell those stories. Tell them when you're dropping your kids off at the bus stop to go to school. Tell them on your TikTok accounts and your Instagram accounts, wherever it may be. Make the impact of these unpopular decisions human by sharing stories. Donate. All of the organizations working here and the over 100 organizations that are part of United for Democracy are all doing tremendously good work in different ways to build us toward a better country. and a better future. Supporting them really does help. It helps, pay for an organizer who knocks on a door. It can help fund a training, an organizing training for you to volunteer to knock on a door. And then finally, on the voting, um, many states are going to pursue efforts to adjust maps in the coming months. And if whether that happens at a ballot or that happens through a state legislative act or an independent commission, make those calls, make sure you vote, and of course, make sure you're prepared to vote in November. Our votes, we have them right now. We need to make sure that our positions that are widely and deeply popular show up in the form of winning elections. So be prepared to vote and bring people with you in November. And then last thing, just want to reiterate to sign the petition that the United for Democracy Coalition, it just is so true that the more people who sign, the more it is clear that many, many more of us are on the same page here than the handful of justices that wrote the decision in Calais.
Thank you so much, Brianna. And for those asking, you could look down to the bottom left corner of your screen. Ourpowernow.org is where you will find that petition. So next, we turn to someone who has been organizing and mobilizing communities across the country to protect voting rights and build power from the ground up. So I will pass it over to Cliff Albright, co-founder of Black Voters Matter.
Hey, thanks. I'm gonna try to be quick, but I got a lot to say. So I got four things that I want to share with you, four messages. And the first one, before I can get to it, I just have to tell you a little bit of a background. So it was reported today that when Mississippi, one of the several states which is going to go into session to do new maps, when Mississippi goes into their session, they won't be going to session, or at least part of them won't be going to session in the current Capitol building. They'll actually be going into session in what they call the old Capitol building. What's important about this old Capitol building? Well, this old Capitol building is the very same Capitol that Mississippi was using at the time that it succeeded from the Union. This very same old Capitol building is the same Capitol building where Mississippi passed its infamous Reconstruction, post-Reconstruction Black Code Constitution, right, which established Jim Crow for the next 100 years. That's where this current Mississippi legislation is going to be taking up the issue of new maps after the Calais decision. They're not even trying to hide it, y'all. They're telling us what it is, what the symbolism is, where it is that they're trying to take us back to. And so the first message I have for you is it's serious. It's serious, more serious than whatever you think it is how serious it is. Because we got to remember that we've been in this period before where there was Black representation, Black congresspeople, Black senators, and all of that was undone after Reconstruction. It's possible to go backwards. Get rid of the notion of American exceptionalism that says that that cannot happen again. It can, right? I will need you to be appropriately terrified about that. But don't worry, I'm not going to let you sit there. So point one, it's serious. Point two, this affects everyone. This is not just a Louisiana problem or a Mississippi problem. This affects everybody because at the end of the day, when we can't have a representative Congress, then we can't have the kind of policies that we all want to see, right? I always say you can't have a people's agenda when you don't have a government that reflects the people. And so are you upset about gas prices and being in a war that a Congress won't check? Well, guess what? That's a redistricting issue. Are you upset about the prices of everything being high because there are tariffs that a Congress won't use its congressional power to do? Guess what? That's a redistricting issue. This affects everybody. And that's the way that we need to talk about this. It is not just a technical matter of maps. It is about our representation and about the issues that we want to see that impact our lives. So that's the second message. It affects everybody. The third thing is this. We have got to look at multiple tools. That's what's so powerful about this petition is because it's raising the issue that we need broad democracy reform, right? We've got to look at a variety of tools. So yes, we've got to revisit and strengthen the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, an act which I actually got arrested 5 times back in 2021 trying to get passed. I think that's when me and Stasha first met and started to roll together, right? And so we've got to do that. But guess what? We've got to do some other stuff because at the end of the day, if we're not talking about court reform, then what are we talking about? Because whatever it is that we get, John Lewis Voting Rights Act or DC statehood or whatever else it is, we won't be able to sustain it until we modify, expand, and reform this court. We need other tools too, right? Like, it's not too soon for us to talk about, even as we fight for the Voting Rights Act, that there are some other structural tools we need to look at, like proportional representation. Lonnie Guinier tried to have a debate on that 30 years ago when she was nominated for the Department of Justice. How much further along would we be if we had had that kind of a debate and we had 30 years later an understanding of what different electoral models can even look like? So this is the type of reform that we need our representatives, our fighters, to be willing to fight for. So multiple tools. And then the fourth thing that I'm gonna share with you is this, and it's very simple, y'all. We got power. We've got the power to get all of this done. In fact, the reason that they're cheating is because of our power. Nobody cheats when they're losing. Nobody cheats when they're confident that they got all the power on their side. They're cheating because they're losing. They're cheating because we've got the power. We've just got to use it in all the ways that everybody has talked about on this call. Yes, that means voting. Yes, that means supporting these organizations in these states, Power Coalition, Alabama Forward, Civic Tennessee, all of these organizations that are fighting the good fight in these states. They need our help. They need our support. They need our volunteering. They need our phone calls. They need us to come. In Selma after Bloody Sunday, the movement put out the call for people to come. And people came and made history and marched all the way to Montgomery. We have got to put that call out. We are putting that call out right now. You are a part of that call. And so we need people to do whatever you can to support these orgs. There's probably going to be a link to some of the actions that are taking place. Our friends in Tennessee have another action going on tomorrow. And we know Alabama's got stuff going on for the rest of the week. Support those orgs. If you're anywhere near in the radius, get there. If you know anybody that's in the radius, get there. I might have to hop in the car right now to go on up to Nashville because I think it's time to make some good trouble. We got the power to get this done, y'all. We just got to believe in that power. I'll pass it back to you, Kalisha.
Cliff, thank you so much for just your consistent belief that the power is here. Your consistent organizing and mobilizing in communities far beyond this decision. And I know you will continue to get people out in the ways that they need to in response to it. Next, we're going to turn, as we close out, we'll hear from someone who is fighting to ensure that our democracy works for people when it comes to protecting our environment and our futures. So welcome Doug Lindler from the League of Conservation Voters.
Thank you, Kalisha. Thank you to all our speakers and all of you for being here. I am Doug Lindner, and I am Senior Director of Judiciary and Democracy at the League of Conservation Voters. We at LCV know we need a healthy and functioning democracy to tackle climate change. Voting is how we get the lead out of our drinking water. Voting is how we protect our public lands. Voting is how we fight the big polluters, stop the climate crisis, and pass on a livable world to the next generation. We know the communities of color with the most at stake in this voting rights fight are also the ones facing the greatest harms of environmental injustice, and this Supreme Court majority routinely rolls back our rights to breathe clean air and drink clean water, as well as our right to vote. The Voting Rights Act was the cornerstone of multiracial democracy in this country. Its passage led to massive spikes in Black voter registration. It was one of the biggest leaps forward for freedom in the history of the United States. But despite the centuries of blood, sweat, and tears it has taken to build a multiracial democracy in this country, the Supreme Court's far-right majority is trying to take the people's power away. The far-right justices say no protection from racist gerrymandering, no protection from racist voter suppression, no protection from partisan gerrymandering, no protection from corporate money in politics, and on and on and on. There was nothing wrong with the Voting Rights Act as written. Just like there is nothing wrong with the 15th Amendment we ratified to our Constitution to protect Black voting rights after the Civil War more than 150 years ago. The law is not the problem. The problem is that far-right politicians and judges, including life-tenured Supreme Court justices, keep abusing their public offices to steal power from the people and take that power for themselves, for their friends, for their political allies, for their judges, and for their billionaires and corporations. But we do not have to accept that. We are not powerless. Our elected officials in Congress are not powerless. Congress has the authority. Congress has the responsibility. What's been missing is the will. Congress will not fix this unless the people demand it, and that is what we are here for tonight. We are demanding a real plan, not silence, not delay, not vague promises or half measures. We need a real plan from Congress to actually make the system work for all of us. We will not be satisfied with small or symbolic actions. We are asking for solutions bold enough to actually solve the problem because our rights cannot wait any longer. A real plan must restore power to everyday people, not just further entrench it at the top. It must rebalance a system that is out of alignment where too much power sits with too few. It must make our democracy more representative and accountable so people's voices actually shape decisions, and it must ensure that government responds to the needs of the public, not just the wealthy and well-connected interests. This is not about buzzwords. This is not about tinkering around the edges. This is about outcomes. This is about whether we have a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, or a system that only works for the people in power. It's about who America is for. It's about whether we can build a brighter future. So we are asking you to join this movement by taking a few simple actions right now. First, sign the petition at ourpowernow.org. That's OUR powernow.org. Add your name and be a part of a growing collective voice demanding change. Second, call your member of Congress at 202-224-3121. No matter who your member of Congress is, that number will work for you. And ask them directly, after Louisiana v. Callais, what is your plan to restore power to the people? Show up at town halls. Ask the question publicly. Bring people together. Host a conversation. Organize in your community. Keep this issue front and center. Spam your group chats. This is how pressure builds. This is how change happens. No one action and no one person is enough, but together it adds up, and that is the point. We don't do this alone. We do it together. When the voting rights hero John Lewis passed 6 years ago, he left us with these words. He said, "Democracy is not a state, it is an act, and every generation must do its part." So sign the petition, call your member of Congress, go to town halls, tell your friends and family, keep pushing, because now is the time for this generation to do our part, not just for those who come after us, but for the America we ourselves deserve in our time, because together we the people can change this country, and we're going to show them what democracy looks like. So thank you for coming, thank you for being a part of this movement, and thank you for demanding a real plan to bring power back to the people.
Thank you so much, Doug. And thank you to all our speakers tonight and to United for Democracy for hosting this call and bringing us all together. I'm honored to be in this fight with everyone on tonight's call. As you've heard, this is not just about one issue or one decision. It's about whether or not our system works for all of us. And while I know that too often right now, this is not the case, I also know that the power of the people will always be greater than the people in power. So I hope you will take the energy and conviction you've heard tonight to remind you that people are paying attention and are ready to take action. And when we act together, we can create real pressure for change. That starts with the simple but powerful act of signing the petition you've heard about tonight. Add your name, then share it with everyone you know to add theirs too. And remember, in 2026, voting is a tool for resistance. It's the loudest message we can send. There are 67,000 primaries and 100,000 general elections happening across all 50 states this year, including every House seat and 35 Senate seats. And I'm not naive enough to think that there won't be noise around them, efforts to postpone and change them. Lauren, Cliff, you mentioned loading up buses, and here in Mobile, Alabama, we have several leaving at the top of the morning to head 2 hours north to Montgomery, Alabama, so that people can have their voices heard as the state legislature jumps into a special session to redraw maps and change an election if the courts allow them to. I'm not naive enough to know that there is no noise, but we have to remain focused. Sign that petition at ourpowernow.org, and also make sure you and everyone you know are registered and ready to vote. You can go to whenweallvote.org now and spend just 2 minutes making sure your voter registration is up to date. Listen, this is just the beginning. We will keep organizing, we will keep building, we will keep showing up for one another together. Follow all the amazing leaders and organizations you've heard from tonight to stay engaged on what's next in this fight to vote, and make sure our voices and our communities are heard. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight.